She was 10 when Dad left us. The police said he had been drinking, and everyone was fortunate that no one else was involved in the accident. Mom was upset for weeks, but she managed to hold it together. She had always wanted to start her own career, but things had never worked out. She said that at the end of the school year, we'd be moving to a different house in a new city, and everything would be okay. My little brother Jake was confused and lost during the whole change. We started packing right after spring break, putting away winter clothes and things we wouldn't need for a while. By the end of school, the living room was stacked with boxes. The new house was nice. The street had big trees, and there wasn't much traffic. Some houses had bicycles and toys in their yards, so it seemed like there were other kids around. The movers got our furniture and boxes into the right rooms, and people came by to set up utilities. Mom had made it clear we'd need to help, so unpacking and chores were on us. She had also insisted Jake and I get cell phones so she could check up on us. It was fine, but we didn't really have anyone else to call. After breakfast, Mom went to work, and in the evenings, she worked on starting her own business. One day, I came in and was walking down the hall, trying to figure out some of the buttons on my new phone. As I headed toward my room, I noticed the door was partially closed. When I quietly opened it, I saw Jake standing in front of the mirror, wearing one of my old jumpers. It was too small for me, but we hadn't gotten rid of it yet. I had already figured out the camera button on the phone and took a couple of pictures. Jake jumped, looking scared, as I snapped the photos. He tried to hide his face and begged me to stop. Jake, why? Never mind. Whose underwear are you wearing? I asked. They're mine, he stammered. Well, if they weren't, they are now, I said. Please don't tell Mom. Please don't tell anyone. I'll never do it again, he begged. How long have you been wearing my clothes? I asked, suspecting he'd been doing it for a while. This is the first time, he said, hanging his head. Liar, I said flatly. Just sometimes, he added, looking defeated. Since last summer. You know I have pictures of you, right? And you know Mom taught me how to put them on the computer, I said, holding up my phone. Please, please, don't put them on the computer, he pleaded, tugging at the hemline to cover up the skirt he was wearing. I shrugged. Okay, one condition, you go shopping with me dressed like that. His eyes widened in shock. No, I can't. You want me to go shopping in a dress? It's not a dress. It's a jumper. You're the one who wanted to wear it. Besides, I can always make an iron-on t-shirt with the picture and wear it to school this fall. I'm sure the other kids will think it's really cool. He squinted his eyes, but he knew he'd lost. Do I have to? No, you don't have to. You chose to dress this way, and now you have to make a choice, go shopping with me, or let everyone at school see your picture this fall. Actually, you do look like a girl. Your hair's long enough to pass, but it could be a bit longer. His hair was over his collar and just about his ears. Mom always parted it down the middle. He didn't have to comb it unless it got messed up after a bath, he'd just shake his head, and it would fall back into place. It was a little ridiculous. He stood there, trying to squeeze his legs together, embarrassed about being dressed like a girl. Where do we have to go? He asked. You still have some of the money Mom gave you last week, right? Yes, why? Because you need a few things of your own if you're going to keep dressing like this. But I don't want to be a girl. Then why are you dressed like one? He didn't have an answer. Come on, get your money. We need to hurry unless you want Mom to get home before us. He went back to his room to grab his money, keys, and whatever else boys put in their pockets. Jessica, he said, there aren't any pockets in this thing. No kidding, genius. Why do you think girls carry purses? So what am I supposed to do? Just give me your money and your cell phone. We'll take the bus to the store, get you some things, and then come home. Jake wasn't thrilled about walking down the street, dressed like a girl, but there was no one around to notice. I paid the bus fare, and we found our seats. Keep your knees together. Do you want everyone to see up your skirt? I whispered. No, he mumbled, closing his knees together in embarrassment. The discount store was part of a strip mall with little shops around it. I can't go in there, Jake protested. People will see me. Jake, people have already seen you. Besides, it's not like we know anyone here. Now, come on. We found a cute purse that wasn't too small. I decided on one with a shoulder strap. It was more practical than one that tied up and would have to be laid down when you needed both hands. Then we went to the beauty section. You really need to carry more than just your keys and money. You'll want a mirror, a brush, a comb, and some lip gloss. But I'm not. Do you really want to say that in front of everyone here? He looked down, clearly embarrassed. No, he muttered. At the checkout, the cashier asked, "Did you girls get everything you needed?" Yes, I answered. We just moved here, and my little sister managed to lose her purse. My name's Jessica, and this is my sister, Jenna. Jake looked horrified. She's a little shy about meeting new people, I added. The cashier smiled. Jenna, what a pretty name for such a pretty girl. Jenna, can you say thank you? Jake tried to shrink into the floor. Thank you, he mumbled. The cashier smiled as she handed me the change and receipt. It's okay, Jenna. Every girl loses her purse sometime. We left the store and sat on a bench under the canopy. See, I said, you dress like a girl, you look like a girl, and everyone treats you like a girl. Did you really have to say that? My name's Jenna. I actually like the name Jenna, I responded. Besides, was I supposed to tell her you're my brother, and your name is actually Jake? No, but why do I have to be a girl? Because you like wearing girls' clothes, and boys don't usually do that. How much longer do I have to keep doing this? Well, it's almost lunchtime. Aren't you getting hungry? Yes, but I can't. Can't what? You can't eat a cheeseburger dressed like a girl? Girls do eat, you know, I said. Keep your knees together, I reminded him. He pressed his knees together. Do you have to keep telling me that? No, I could just let you embarrass yourself by sitting there with everyone looking up your skirt. Okay, he muttered. I opened the bag of items we bought and pulled out the first one. What is this? I asked. A purse, he answered. No, wrong answer. Say, this is my purse. He sighed and repeated, this is my purse. Good girl, I said, handing it to him. I pulled out the next item. What is this? A brush, he said. Try again. That's my brush. Good girl. Now, put your brush in your purse. What's this? Jake kicked the sidewalk. That's my comb. Good girl. And this? That's my mirror. And that's my lip gloss. Now, can we eat? He asked. Yes, Jenna, we can get something to eat once you put your things in your purse. Put your keys, your cell phone, and your money in it. Why do you keep saying your purse? Because, Jenna, a girl thinks in terms of her purse, her brush, and so on. Whatever. Can we eat now? The girl behind the counter asked, what can I get you girls today? Jake quickly replied, I want a. I tapped him on the shoulder. Say, I'd like, and don't forget your manners. He sighed. I'd like a kid's cheeseburger, please. Good girl, I said. Turning to the cashier, I added, little sisters can be a pain sometimes. I placed my order, and we took our trays to a vacant table. Jenna, when you're wearing a skirt, you always smooth it down when you sit, I told him. Why? He asked, looking around to see if anyone could hear us. First, it makes your skirt look nicer. Second, you don't want your bare legs touching the seat, especially if it's hot from the sun. He shook his head. There sure are a lot of rules to being a girl. After eating, Jake, now my little sister, figured out a good reason not to drink too much soda. Jessie, I need to go to the bathroom. I was gathering up the trash. Okay, we'll go together. Girls almost never go to the bathroom alone, I explained. I leaned in and whispered, okay, listen, don't forget your purse when you go into the boys' bathroom. If you run into a man in there, explain it to him. What am I supposed to do? You'll go into the girls' restroom, pick a stall, close the door, and don't lay your purse on the floor. Lift your skirt, drop your panties, and sit. By now, he was starting to squirm, realizing quickly there was no time for further argument. We headed for the girls' room. When he finished, he came to the sink and washed his hands. Where's your purse? I asked. It's right here, he said. No, what's the right answer? He closed his eyes in frustration. My purse is right here. Good girl. Now, before you're done, take out your brush and brush your hair. Then put on your lip gloss. Do I have to? Do you really want to be seen in public without lip gloss? No. Once he finished, I led him toward a used clothing store across the parking lot. What are we doing here? He asked. You need more clothes. You can have some of my old things, but you can't wear the same outfit 2 days in a row. What do you mean, 2 days in a row? I'm not dressing like this tomorrow. Yes, you are. Haven't you noticed I've been taking pictures of you all day? Jessica, I think it's clear, Jenna, you seem to enjoy dressing like a girl. You're less of a pain when you're a girl. This way, you can get it all out of your system by being a girl all week. I'm going to tell Mom. Go ahead and tell Mom that you've been wearing my clothes for a year and that we went shopping with you dressed like this. In fact, you can wear my jumper tonight for dinner. Jake hesitated, weighing his options. Okay, what are we going to buy? Good girl. Smart choice. Besides, Jenna, I think you really want to be a girl all the time anyway. Jake looked like he had been caught doing something wrong, and he reluctantly entered the store. After looking at skirts and shorts for a while, Jenna seemed to warm up to the idea of shopping. She even picked out a couple of cute tops on her own. We managed to get a lot of clothes for her, finding great deals by matching the color tags with the big discount sign on the wall. Next, we headed to the toy aisle. Do you want a doll? Every girl has a couple of dolls and stuffed animals in her room. You're not too old for that. Jenna hesitated, torn between saying no and admitting that she secretly wanted a doll. She had always liked playing with mine when we were younger. Most of the dolls were a bit worn, but there was a stuffed panda that seemed to catch her eye. You don't have to if you don't want to, I said. I know. Maybe we can find a nice doll at a yard sale or something, I suggested as we left the store. Jenna stopped and looked at me, smiling. Thank you, sis. You're welcome, little sister. You can carry some of this stuff. You've got some great clothes for next to nothing. We'd better get home so you can put your skirts and tops in your room before Mom gets back. Yeah, I guess we should hurry. We still need to clean up and do some laundry before she gets home. Do we really have to do laundry? It's not that hard, silly. You just put the clothes in the washer, and it does the rest. Besides, do you want Mom to be the one washing your skirts? Jake, now back to being Jake, had changed into a t-shirt and jeans before Mom got home. He seemed uncomfortable in his boy clothes, touching them as if they didn't feel right. I confessed to Mom about my laundry mistake, how I'd overdone the bleach and set the water temperature too high, which ruined the elastic. I also told her Jake needed new underwear, socks, and shoes. She was forgiving about the laundry mishap and gave me money to cover the expenses. It wasn't a lot, but with her paycheck coming soon and some savings from the accident, we were managing. Mom asked me to wash the breakfast dishes while she gathered her things for work. She kissed us both and told us to be good while she was gone. Once I heard the car start, I turned to Jake. "Go get dressed, Jenna. Then you can help me wash the dishes." I couldn't tell if he was hesitant or anxious to wear his new clothes from yesterday. Jenna came back quickly, wearing a striped, multicolored top with straps instead of sleeves and a denim skirt. "I'll wash, and you can dry, Jenna," I said. "Okay, where's your purse?" "It's up in my..." He hesitated. "My purse is in my room." "Good girl. Don't forget to brush your hair and put on lip gloss before we leave," I reminded him. He looked away but also seemed pleased that he'd have to dress like a girl again today. We went back to the discount store and picked out some cute anklets, knee socks, 2 packs of cotton panties, headbands, and barrettes. On our way back, we saw some girls playing hopscotch in a driveway just a couple of blocks away. Their names were Chloe and Isabella. It turned out they were going to be in the 4th grade at school soon, and they invited us to join them. After playing for about half an hour, Isabella's mom invited us in for cola and cookies. When we left, Chloe and Isabella made us promise to come back and play the next day. The following day, Jenna, formerly Jake, managed to get her socks and panties put away and change clothes before Mom got home. We played hopscotch for a while, then jumped rope. Isabella's mom made lunch, and we spent the afternoon playing with dolls in Isabella's room. We went to Isabella's house every day that week, and we made plans to see a movie on Saturday. Jake, now fully embracing being Jenna, had started thinking of herself as a girl, and the others accepted her as one of their friends. On Saturday, Jenna wore a jumper with knee socks. We saw Chloe and Isabella standing with 2 other girls, Chloe's older sister, Lisa, and her friend, Heather. Jenna did really well during the movie. I'd usually have to correct her, but Heather only needed to tell her once to keep her knees together. After that, Jenna always followed Heather and Lisa's lead on what to do and when. For example, when we were in the bathroom after the movie, Jenna brushed her hair and put on lip gloss right after Lisa did. We wandered the mall, looking at store windows. Heather and Lisa kept glancing at boys, and I saw Jenna and Isabella blush once. It was the first time I heard Jenna giggle. It was annoying, but they were only in the 4th grade. We had to hurry to get home so Jenna could change back into Jake's clothes before Mom got home. The next day was Sunday, so Jake had to stay dressed as a boy all day. We helped clean the house, watched a couple of movies, and ordered pizza. Jake helped with the cleaning, which surprised me a little. I guessed she was starting to get used to being a girl. We saw Chloe and Isabella almost every day for the next 2 weeks. We did everything together, watched movies, played games, and played with dolls. One Saturday, after Jake had been dressing as a girl for about a month, the 4 of us went shopping. In the center of the mall was a big display with tables, a camera, some equipment, and signs saying they were giving away free identification and fingerprint cards for school children. Without thinking, Jenna got in line with the rest of us. I told the woman at the booth that my sister's name was Jenna Catherine and gave her Jake's birth date. On Monday morning, Jake had to clean out her purse because she had gotten into the habit of stuffing everything in it. I pointed out that her ID card had an F for sex. "Do you remember that lady who filled out the card for you?" I asked. "Yes," Jake said. "Well, turns out she's the 4th grade teacher at school." It took him a few minutes to realize that he had already met his new teacher, and that she had met him as a girl. Not that it really mattered, since I had told him that Chloe and Isabella were in his class, and Heather and Lisa were going to remember him as Jenna too. I thought he was going to have a heart attack right there at the kitchen table. "I should never have let you talk me into this," he shouted. "Ah, it was you standing in my bedroom wearing my jumper, as I remember it," I reminded him. "And you haven't complained about dressing or acting like Jenna for the last month. Weren't you the one who wanted to borrow Isabella's nail polish last week?" He looked uncomfortable and answered, "Yes," while staring at the floor. "Wasn't it you I caught almost getting into Mom's makeup?" That hit home. It reminded him that the whole Jake to Jenna situation was his own doing. "What am I going to do?" he pleaded. "Well, it's your choice," I said. "You either continue living as Jenna, or you come clean about being Jake. It's your decision, Jenna. But the school will know. The school will have our records from before. Mom has our transfer stuff in her desk. There's an envelope for each of us with our names on it. I'll just stick labels over them, and you can be Jenna at school if that's what you want." I waited for him to think it over. "Well, do you want to be Jenna, or do you want to go back to being Jake?" He sat with his hands on his knees, rocking slightly back and forth. "I don't know. I don't know," he kept repeating. "You're going to have to decide soon," I said. "The school registrations have to be in soon. The only reason Mom hasn't sent them in yet is because she's been so busy. Plus, we'll have to wear uniforms to school. You heard Isabella's mom talking about it last week." He sat there with his eyes closed, rocking back and forth, clearly trying not to verbalize his decision. But it was obvious which one he had already made. "Jenna or Jake?" I asked again. After a moment, he finally said, "Jenna." "So, Jenna, you're a girl, right?" I asked. He looked at me like I had accused him of something terrible. "Are you a girl or a boy?" I pressed. "I'm a girl," he said softly. "I thought so. You look like a girl, you act like a girl. I think you should be a girl because you really are one, inside." He looked relieved, as though a great weight had been lifted from him once he admitted it to himself. Changing our school records was easy. I made up some permanent labels with our names and other details and stuck them on the forms. Robert Allen became Jenna Catherine in just a few minutes. I put the forms in an envelope, addressed it to the school, and mailed it. A week later, we got paperwork from the school with uniform guidelines and some general information. I told Mom that Isabella's mom had offered to take us shopping for our uniforms, so she gave us some money. We made a day of it, starting with getting the new skirts and blouses in the morning, followed by lunch. Isabella wanted to get her ears pierced, but her mom told her she'd have to wait until junior high. After that, we went to get Isabella's hair styled. Jenna's was looking pretty ragged too, so with the money we had left, she got her first taste of a beauty salon. She looked great with her even bangs and shoulder-length hair. The first day of school was pretty typical. The teachers didn't teach much since everyone was still in summer mode. Jenna didn't have any problems being accepted as a girl. Since she already knew Chloe and Isabella, and Mrs. Anderson recognized her from the ID cards, we were walking home from the bus stop when I asked, "So, do you have any cute boys in your class, Jenna?" "No, I mean, how would I know? It's not like I'm checking out the boys." Mom had a rule about changing out of our school clothes right after we got home, so it wasn't hard to hide the fact that Jake was wearing a blouse and skirt to school. The real challenge was in the mornings, since Mom left for work about 20 minutes before we had to catch the bus. Jenna quickly became good at racing to get dressed so we could make it to the bus stop in time. After the second week of school, I asked Jenna, "So, do you think that boy, what's his name again, Mark Lowry, is cute?" Jake looked like she had been caught in a lie. "How would I know?" she mumbled, clearly guilty. "Well, I hear he thinks you're pretty and that he's written your name all over his notebook." Jenna hung her head and mumbled something I didn't hear. "Jenna's got a boyfriend. Jenna's got a boyfriend." I sang. "I do not." "Oh, I see. Has he given you a ring? Are you two holding hands at lunch? Will you stop it?" Jenna said. "Jenna Lowry," I teased, "has a nice ring to it. Has he asked to carry your books and walk you home?" "Knock it off, Jessie." The school had scheduled our photos for late September, and both Jenna and I had forgotten about it. Changing the labels on Jenna's report card would be easy, and her grades were good enough that Mom wouldn't need to schedule a parent-teacher conference. But once the school photos came in, I knew Mom would want to see them. She had an album with all our past school photos, and she wouldn't let this year go by without including Jenna's. Jenna kept hoping I'd come up with a plan to fake the photos, but time was running out, and the pictures arrived right around Thanksgiving. Sure enough, the photos came, and Mom got them just a week before the holiday. We might have been able to explain it by claiming the negatives were printed backwards, so it looked like Jake was wearing a blouse instead of a shirt, but we couldn't hide the fact that Jake had been wearing a headband that day. It actually looked nice, with the blue headband holding her hair back, but there was no denying that Jake looked like a near 10-year-old girl. Dinner wasn't as confrontational as we'd expected. Mom didn't yell or cry, she just calmly asked Jake if she was going to school dressed as a girl. We both must have looked guilty because Mom just sighed and asked, "Why are you dressing like a girl?" Jake looked at me, and I figured it was partly my fault. "Because she likes wearing girl clothes," I said. The whole story came out in a matter of minutes. Mom just sat there, listening and thinking. Then she said, "I should have realized that you two were up to something. Things have just been going too well lately. Maybe if I'd been home more, this wouldn't have gotten out of hand." I wasn't sure what to say next, not knowing what would happen. "Actually, she looks pretty good as a girl, and she hasn't been having any trouble in school like last year," Mom said. "But my son is crossdressing in the 4th grade. Do you realize that this is illegal? Do you realize that the state could take both of you away from me for this?" "Mom," I said quietly, "we didn't know. I just wanted to punish him for wearing my clothes, and it sort of got out of hand. Then he just started getting along better as a girl. It sort of took on a life of its own." Mom thought for a long time and finally said, "Eat your dinner before it gets cold." She didn't say much after that. After dinner, Jake, Jenna, and I washed the dishes while Mom worked at her computer. We figured it was best not to do anything to upset her any further. When the dishes were done, we sat quietly in the living room, watching some silly sitcom on TV. Mom came into the room and said, "We need to have a talk." She sat down facing both of us but spoke directly to Jake. "What do you want to do? Do you want to be the son I had, or do you want to stay as a girl? And what name are you using anyway?" Jake handed her the emergency ID card we'd gotten at the mall over the summer. "Jenna Catherine," he said, "named after my aunt." We sat in silence for a long time. Finally, Jake spoke. "I want to stay as Jenna. I like being a girl. I have friends now, and I don't know, it just feels right." Mom thought it over for a few minutes. "You're going to have to see a doctor about this. You've been living as a girl for 6 months, and I can't believe I never suspected anything. You two better finish your homework, then shower and get to bed. You have school in the morning." The next morning, Jake wasn't sure what to do, but I figured Mom already knew everything. He couldn't go to school as a boy, so I told him to just put on his uniform before breakfast. That way, he wouldn't have to rush to change before school. I hadn't seen him nervous about wearing a skirt for a while, but it was clear as he came into the kitchen with his school books. At first, Mom just looked at Jake standing there in a white blouse, blue skirt, and white knee socks. Then, she spun her finger in a circle and said, "Turn around." Jake turned all the way around for her, and she said, "Very nice, Jenna." Jake just looked at me, unsure how to respond. As he sat down, he smoothed his skirt. Mom caught the action. "I see that your sister and your friends have been teaching you well. You seem to have had a lot of practice wearing skirts." I decided to ask the question on our minds. "So, it's okay for Jake to be Jenna?" Mom looked at us thoughtfully. "The question isn't whether it's okay. He can't just change back into a boy at school. Kids can be cruel enough, and if they find out he's been pretending to be a girl this whole time, well, that doesn't even take into account the legal implications." She paused, letting it sink in. "But yes, if he's going to dress and behave as a girl in front of the world, then there's no reason why she shouldn't dress as a girl all the time. Go ahead and eat your breakfast. You girls have a bus to catch." Mom decided not to work on the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Her business was slowing down for the holidays, and she mentioned that she probably wouldn't be taking on new clients until the new year. At breakfast, she asked us what we'd like to do, since we hadn't spent much time together outside the house. Neither Jenna nor I wanted to suggest anything too out there, since Mom was still adjusting to the news about Jake wanting to be a girl. Mom stirred her coffee and casually brought up the subject. You know, Christmas is coming up. I'm not sure what you girls want for Christmas, and some of my clients are hosting Christmas and New Year's parties. I think you might need some holiday dresses. Of course, if you're not interested. That would be cool, we both said together. You mean Jenna gets a new holiday dress too? I asked. Well, unless she wants to wear an old jumper to a holiday party, Mom replied. No, Jenna said, please, I'd really like a new dress for Christmas. Well, you girls wash the dishes and get ready, then we'll go shopping. We can get some ideas of what's available. Besides, we're having Thanksgiving dinner out this year, and you'll want some nice dresses for that too. While we washed the dishes, Jenna couldn't stop talking about shopping for dresses with Mom. I hear JCPenney has these velvet dresses that are really cool. They'd be so cute with white tights. You've really gotten into this dress thing, haven't you? I asked. Well, it's just because Chloe and Isabella have been talking about it so much lately. And Chloe's got the new Penny Winter catalog, and those dresses are so cute. As the water drained from the sink, I turned and saw that Mom had been listening. Jenna seems really into this new dress thing, she recited. She gets so excited sometimes, I said. I think it has to do with this boy at school, Mark Lowry, I added. He is not my boyfriend. Jenna shouted. Mom folded her arms and asked, so, is he cute? Jenna just sputtered and blushed. Well, I guess he is, she mumbled. Mom snickered. Looks like I'm going to have a mother-daughter talk with you too. Jenna stood there, opening her mouth but not making any sound. We hit several stores at the mall before deciding on dresses. Jenna and I each picked one, along with several pairs of white tights and a pair of shoes each. Jenna was thrilled to get a pair of Mary Janes and couldn't wait to tell Chloe and Isabella about her new clothes. I figured it would give her something to show off to her friends. We wore our new dresses when we had Thanksgiving dinner at a nice restaurant. Mom was dressed to the nines, as they say, and Jenna and I looked pretty good too. Mom seemed to be warming up to the idea of having 2 daughters. She said Jake had to see a special psychiatrist, but they couldn't get an appointment until January. We got invited to 2 Christmas parties, as some of Mom's clients had invited families. It was funny when one boy asked Jenna to dance. She hadn't had much practice except with Chloe and Isabella, but she seemed to do okay. Before long, another boy asked her to dance. He was younger than her and had only asked because his mother had been pushing him to do it. Luckily, Jenna was too nervous to refuse him. I imagine it would have crushed his little ego to be turned down by the first girl he'd ever asked. I made a note to mention her dancing to Chloe and Isabella the next time I saw them. They could help her feel more comfortable with moving to the music, and I'd be sure to let it slip that she danced with 2 boys at the Christmas parties. I figured that might encourage Mark Lowry to ask her to a movie or something. By the time we went back to school, Jenna was a girl full-time. On weekends, she sometimes showed up for breakfast in her dorm shirt, and she thought nothing of asking Mom about nail polish and hairstyling ideas. She had her first appointment with the psychiatrist at the end of January. She said they mostly talked about why she was living as a girl and how long she'd been dressing that way. They also talked about her friends and how Mom and I felt about her being Jenna. After a few visits, we had an appointment without Jenna. The doctor asked us some questions about how we were coping, then said we were doing a good job of providing Jenna with what he called the proper support for transitioning. When Jenna came back in, the doctor mentioned writing a prescription to keep her from going through male puberty, and later, another prescription that would allow her to enter puberty as a girl, at the same time as her friends. The rest of the school year went pretty well. Mom put our pictures in the album just as she always had. Mark Lowry never got around to talking to Jenna, but they'd be in 5th grade next year, and there were always others to keep them distracted. I wondered what Jenna would do in junior high when they had gym class and tryouts for cheerleading. I also wondered what she would do when she was old enough to date for real. But I figured she had a few more years to think about that, and she had enough support from her friends and family to guide her in making good choices. Then again, she'd already made some pretty serious choices on her own. If you appreciated this story and wish to show your support, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel.